There is a hidden charge on almost everything you buy right now. It is not on your receipt. It is not on your bank statement. But by the end of this year, it will cost you over $1,300. And almost no one is talking about it. By the end of this video, you will see exactly where that money is going, who benefits from it, and the one Supreme Court case that could put $900 of it back in your pocket. It starts with something as simple as a pair of shoes. Pick up any sneaker on the shelf. Check where it was made. Probably Vietnam. Probably China. Here is what happened to that shoe before you ever saw it. A factory overseas made it for about $12. It got shipped across the Pacific, and the moment it arrived in the United States, the government added a 20% tariff. Here's the part most people get wrong. That tariff is not paid by Vietnam. It is not paid by China. It is paid by the American company importing the shoe, and that company passes the cost straight to you. The Kiel Institute for the World Economy tracked the money. 96% of the tariff burden lands on American consumers and businesses. 4% is absorbed by foreign exporters. The claim that other countries are paying these tariffs does not match what economists have measured. So that $12 shoe now costs over $15 before the retailer even marks it up. The price on the shelf jumps from $89 to $99. $10 more for one pair of shoes because of one tariff. And there is no line on the receipt that says tariff. It just looks like shoes cost more than they used to. But shoes are just the beginning. Follow a normal grocery run. Canned tomatoes, a bag of coffee, ground beef, a box of cereal. 4 everyday items. Every single one is more expensive because of tariffs, and not for the reasons you would expect. The canned tomatoes did not get tariffed. The can did. Steel and aluminum tariffs raised the cost of the metal itself. Coffee is up 19% year over year, partly because tariffs on imports from key producing countries added cost at every stage of the supply chain. Ground beef is up double digits, driven partly by a low cattle herd, but also by tariffs on equipment and feed inputs that push processing costs higher. Even the cereal box costs more because tariffs on packaging materials and imported ingredients ripple through to the final price. One trip to the store, 4 items, dozens of invisible tariff charges hiding inside products that look exactly the same as they did 2 years ago. And here's where the story gets personal. But this does not hit everyone the same way, not even close. If your family earns less, you spend a bigger share of your income on physical goods, clothing, food, appliances, household basics, all heavily tariffed. If you are wealthy, you spend more on services, travel, dining out, professional fees. Tariffs barely touch those. Yale's Budget Lab calculated the difference. Households at the bottom of the income distribution lose 2.7% of their income to tariff-related price increases. Households at the top lose 0.8%. That is more than 3 to 1. A family earning $30,000 a year is hit 3 times harder as a share of their paycheck than a family earning $300,000. Tariffs are a regressive tax. They take the most from the people who can afford it least, and the total scale is larger than most people realize. As of early 2026, the average tariff rate on all imports into the United States is roughly 17%. That is the highest since 1946. The Tax Foundation says these tariffs represent the largest tax increase as a share of gross domestic product since 1993. The Tax Policy Center puts the per household cost at $2,100. Yale says $1,400. The Tax Foundation says $1,300. The exact number depends on methodology, but every estimate points in the same direction. American families are paying significantly more across the board, and it is about to get worse. Throughout 2025, businesses absorbed most of the hit themselves. JPMorgan estimated companies paid roughly 80% of the tariff bill by cutting into their own profit margins. They could do that because many had stockpiled inventory at pre-tariff prices. Those stockpiles are running out. JPMorgan projects the share businesses absorb could drop from 80% to as low as 20% in 2026. The rest transfers directly to consumers. This is already showing up. Amazon's chief executive officer confirmed in January 2026 that tariff costs are appearing in consumer prices across the platform. Walmart's chief financial officer described the speed of these price increases as somewhat unprecedented. Smaller businesses are raising prices, cutting the variety of products they carry, or quietly making products smaller. That is called shrinkflation. Same package, less product inside. Another way the tariff cost reaches your wallet without ever appearing on the price tag. But here's the twist that makes the next few months worth paying close attention to. The United States Supreme Court is currently reviewing whether the president even has the legal authority to impose these tariffs using emergency powers under a law called the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. No court has yet ruled in favor of unlimited emergency tariff authority. And if the Supreme Court limits that power, the Tax Foundation estimates the per-household cost drops from $1,300 to $400. That is a $900 difference hanging on a single court decision that could come down any day. Congress is also pushing back. Lawmakers on both sides have challenged specific tariffs. The administration has already issued exemptions for smartphones, auto parts, and goods that comply with the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement. Italian pasta tariffs were delayed at the last minute on New Year's Day. The tariff picture is not fixed. It shifts with every executive order, every court ruling, and every trade negotiation. There are 3 things you can do right now to protect your household. First, check the categories that are hit hardest before you buy. Shoes, clothing, electronics, and metal-intensive appliances carry the largest tariff markups. If you have a major purchase coming, research whether a domestically manufactured alternative exists. Second, compare unit prices at the grocery store. Tariff costs get passed through unevenly across brands and package sizes. The store brand canned tomatoes may have absorbed far less tariff cost than the national brand sitting right next to them. Third, watch the Supreme Court case. A ruling against emergency tariff authority would be the single largest consumer price reduction event in years, and it could happen within months. The Federal Reserve has described the tariff impact as a largely one-time increase in prices rather than a sustained inflationary spiral. But for families already stretched by 5 years of rising costs, $1,300 is not a rounding error. It is a car repair. It is 2 months of groceries. It is the difference between building savings and falling behind. That money is leaving your household right now, built into the price of almost everything you buy. Whether it stays there depends on a court case, Congress, and a set of trade negotiations that are all unresolved as of today.